The C-SPAN networks bring you long-form public affairs programming from the nation's capital and are a public service of your television provider. C-SPAN, created by cable.
We are all stunned by the events last night in Dallas. We're all outraged. An attack on the people who protect us is an attack on all of us. Our hearts are with the Dallas Police Department. Our hearts are with the victims, and especially with their loved ones. They wear the badge too. I know that to be a cop's wife or a cop's husband is to prepare for the worst. But who could have fathomed such horror as this? There's no cause or context in which this violence, this kind of terror is justified, none at all. There will be a temptation to let our anger harden our divisions. Let's not let that happen. There's going to be a temptation to let our anger send us further into our corners. Let's not let that happen. That script is just too easy to write. It's too predictable. Let's defy those predictions. A few perpetrators of evil do not represent us. They do not control us. The blame lies with the people who committed these vicious acts and no one else. And as the president rightfully said, justice will be done. We also have to let the healing be done as well. This has been a long week for our country. It's been a long month for America. We've seen terrible, terrible, senseless things. Every member of this body, every Republican and every Democrat wants to see less gun violence. Every member of this body wants a world in which people feel safe regardless of the color of their skin. And that's not how people are feeling these days. Sometimes we disagree on how to get there. Sometimes we disagree passionately on how to get there. But in having this debate, let's not lose sight of the values that unite us. Let's not lose sight in our common humanity. The values that brought those protesters to the streets in Dallas. The values that brought those protesters to the streets in Washington last night. Respect, decency, compassion, humanity. If we lose those fundamental things, what's left? We need to take a moment here for reflection, for thought, for prayer, for justice, for action. Right now, let's let justice be done, and let's also let some healing occur too. I yield.
Gentleman yields.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The ambush and murder of police officers during a peaceful protest is a tragedy that tears at the heart of every American. I agree with the Speaker that episodes like this must not harden our divisions, but should unify us as a country. We are all horrified by this despicable act of violence, and we share in the shock and grief for the officers killed, their loved ones, and the entire Dallas community. When these officers left their homes earlier in the day, there was always the chance that they would be in danger. Right now, we don't even know the names of all of them. The names have not been released. But I do want to acknowledge Dart Officer Brent Thompson and those whose names are yet to be released, as well as those who were wounded, including one civilian. Many questions have yet to be answered. But whatever the motivation of the perpetrators of this horrible crime, it is clear that those perpetrators of this vile act have an agenda of evil. The past few days have seen too much death and too much heartbreak. As Reverend Martin Luther King wrote, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And that, of course, reminds me of our glorious song of St. Francis, which is the anthem of my city of San Francisco, that I call upon now. St. Francis appealed to the Lord, "Make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is darkness, may I bring light. Where there is hatred, may I bring love. Where there is despair, may I bring hope." I associate myself with the remark of our speaker when he referenced our president. Justice will be done. Justice must be done. And that's, we must also, mercy must be done. And as we do that, as we seek mercy and justice, I also want to reference a remark of the mayor of Dallas when he said we must get to the root causes of what happened last night. And in that spirit, I want to also acknowledge Alton Sterling and Baton Rouge and Philando Castile. We have to get the facts and to the root causes of what caused these tragedies. In the spirit of Martin Luther King and of St. Francis of Assisi, we must continue to work the work of nonviolence and demand an end to senseless killing everywhere. We must do so sharing our common values, our faith in the dignity and worth of every person, the spark of divinity that lives in all of them, and our tremendous, tremendous grief in the loss of life. Just in particular for the families of the police officers, thank you. Thank you for sharing your loved ones with us. We pray that it is a comfort to you that so many people mourn your loss and are praying for you at this sad time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman yields back.